Hey guys, this is Sean. I'm a member of the Visual Forester team, and in this video, number 1 of a 3-part video series, we will be going over the basics to getting started in Visual Forester Stand Designer. You can also follow along with all these tutorials in the manual. Our goal in this example is to take stand table data, like this, and import it into Stand Designer to create a visual representation of the stand that we can walk around and interact with. We will also go over several basic functions and some helpful keyboard shortcuts. Alright, let's begin. Starting off, we'll build a new scene by selecting New up here. Now we can choose our terrain. These terrains represent a 4-acre cutout of the land you might be trying to portray. So imagine these as one slice of cake from the bigger picture. And I like cake, so I'm gonna stick with that. You could choose any of the terrains from the list that best suits your needs. We're going to choose, no, hold on here. I like this one. We're going to choose Canyon Creek. It has some similar topology compared to the land that I'm working with, and below that, we can change the season to be either summer or fall if we want to use some fall colors in our scene. And on the bottom, we can set the tree form or the height of the trees relative to their diameter. Let's see here. If we select tall, then the trees will appear much thinner and taller to better indicate a faster growing planted stand of trees. And if we select short, then the tree's diameter will be much thicker for its size, thus shorter, stubbier. All right, once we're all decided, we can click continue. I'm going to go with moderate here. Just keep on with that. All right, and now we have the work menu. The work menu contains everything that you would need to view forest inventory data and create a scene. The first step to placing our trees is to import our stand table. Stand Designer can import stand tables as a CSV file. Let's see. You can view them and edit them in Microsoft Excel. I'm going to open this one up right here. And it's pretty basic, showing us how many trees there are categorized by tree species and diameter. If you don't know what in the world you're looking at, no problem. You can get further information on this as well as how to create your own CSV file in the manual under the name Stand Table. I'm going to exit out of this one real quick. And we are going to be using this one. California mixed conifer, 336 trees per acre. Click on that. Once we import the data, Stand Designer will automatically display a per acre summary of our data on the right and an interactive bar graph of our data on the left. Starting on the right, you'll notice that Stand Designer already gives us some new data that we didn't have to enter into our stand table CSV. It read the spreadsheet, and along with the total trees per acre, it calculated some approximate volume per acre data as well, like Scribner, cubic feet, basal area, and biomass. So we're already doing really well just importing the data and having it calculate everything for us, but we can also edit the values ourselves. Over on the bar graph, if I want to simply remove some of those smaller trees, I can click on one of these bars and click on another bar to effectively draw a line between the two. Clicking Remove Selected right here will remove the area highlighted in red. The top of the graph will automatically adjust to the highest value. There are so many things that you can do with the graph that I'm not going to cover them all here in a basic tutorial video, so the rest of the graph functions can be found in the manual. But now that we've edited our data and we're ready to view it in 3D, I can click the Preview Position button. With a little bit of loading here. Here we go. All right, now I can see a preview of where the trees will be placed on the terrain. Up by the graph, we have different methods of distribution that we can select. With distribution, Stand Designer will place down the same number of trees, it just takes into account the spacing between them. See, we can select between two main modes of distribution, planted or natural. We're going to select planted, and we're going to set that value to around 15%. I believe the percentages are arbitrary, but we don't want to go over 20% in a planted situation. That would just be way too clumpy. So we're going to do that. We're going to click Preview Position again, and we see the change was made. There we go. We can see the change was made, and we can now place all our trees down by clicking Place Vegetation. Okay, so now our trees are loaded. Another cool thing is after we place our trees, we can now click anywhere on the planimetric view map here, and we'll drop down on the terrain in that location. Once we drop on the terrain, you may notice our cursor and interface disappear and our field of view now moves around with our mouse. The default controls for walking around the terrain are W, A, S, and D keys, and we can also hold left shift if we want to run. Now we can walk around and explore the scene that we've created. You can pause the video here and go exploring. Alright, once we're done exploring, we can get access back to the toolbar by pressing the space bar. That will also show our mouse cursor. If you want to look around the scene, you will have to hold right click and pan your mouse, like this. Additionally, we can select the icons on the toolbar, or we can hit the escape key on the keyboard to go back to the work menu. There we go, it'll bring us back to this view. I hit spacebar again. To go to the full work menu, as it says here, we can either hit escape or we can click that button. Or if you just want a half work menu, you can either click tab or click that button. That way you can place stands as well as see the changes you make in real time. So as you were exploring the terrain, you may have noticed that the ground is a little bit barren here. To get to the settings panel, we'll go into the toolbar and we can either click this gear icon here or we can hit L on the keyboard. To turn on the vegetation in Stand Designer, we will check this box. And here, Stand Designer has automatically given us some nice generic grasses and plants to put down on the ground to better fill the scene. I'm going to turn plant density all the way off to effectively turn the plants off. And here you can see we have some grasses. You can also throw in your own dry grass, wheat, different types of grass that better define your area for your piece of land to help you build your scene better. I'm going to turn the grass all the way down, and then I'm going to show just the plants. And Stand Designer gives us a pretty neat, well, okay, this is a little bit overkill for this scene. I turned that all the way up. But you can if you want to. If it's a very thick understory, you can have that many plants on your scene. Stand Designer gives us a pretty generic understory: sword fern, bracken ferns. We've got some other forbs, huckleberries here, just to kind of help better fill the scene if you want to automatically place some plants. Of course, you can place all of these species of plants down individually yourself, but this is just a time saver, if you would like. Next, I want to talk about how we can navigate through our scene. Going back to the toolbar, we can click this walk icon to select our method of navigating around. So far, we've been using the walk mode, which is the most basic way of getting around the scene in Stand Designer. The second one from the left, however, is drone mode. In drone mode, we can view our forest from different angles without being tied to the ground. In drone mode, we could also move vertically up or down in relation to the camera. Press the E key to go up in drone mode and the Q key to go down. We can also move forward without needing to touch the keyboard at all if we roll the mouse wheel back and forth, and that'll give us this nice, smooth, slow motion with the middle mouse wheel. That covers the drone mode. Next thing that we'll cover in this example is the quick info panel. With a quick info panel, we can left click on any tree to see more information on that specific tree. In order to get into the quick info panel, we can click here on the eye icon on the toolbar, or we can toggle it with V, as in velvet, on our keyboard. Here we have the ponderosa pine pre-selected, but I can click on any of these trees here, as you'll see, by left clicking, and it will give me all of its information for that particular tree on the bottom right here. This ponderosa pine, for example, has a 14-inch DBH. Its overall height is 59 feet, and it gives us a whole bunch of other volume-specific information, as well as a measured distance between your last click and here. If I clicked there twice, it would show 0 feet, and if I clicked from this tree to this tree, it'll show us the distance between one to the other. Another interesting thing about the quick info panel is you can toggle between individual specific characteristics of one tree to a summary of the stand as a whole, simply by pressing B, as in brown, on the keyboard. And here in the stand information, under the quick info panel, it gives us two more parameters that are introduced: stand density index and quadratic mean by dBH. That's supposed to be a dBH there. So the overall quadratic mean in diameter of our entire stand is 7.3. Pretty neat. Another very important function is the ability to save a scene and keep all your objects, plants, and trees in place for when you come back. You can save a scene in Stand Designer by clicking the floppy disk icon up here in the toolbar or in the work menu. Same place. It's the floppy disk icon right up there. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to save a scene. And you'll note that the default location for where all of these saved scenes go is underneath your Stand Designer folder and inside Forests, which is also where we keep all of our examples so that you can follow along. And after that, you can name this whatever you want, whatever keeps you the most organized. Since I have zero imagination, I'm just going to name this Canyon Creek 1. It's also pre-named after the map that you have selected, so that's a nice thing as well. I'm going to save that. All right, and so now everything is in place. If I need to come back and, yeah. Another very important tool in Stand Designer is the Capture tool. With the Capture tool, we can take images and videos of our stands to show to others. In order to get into the Capture tool, we can click on the camera here on the toolbar, and we've got this pop-up window that gives us a whole bunch of options. The simplest one here in Capture Tools is to take a simple screenshot of exactly what you're looking at. Here you go. It'll say the file saved. It'll tell us exactly where it's going, and it'll give us the option to browse or keep on going in Stand Designer. And with every screenshot you take in Stand Designer, it saves two images. It'll save a screenshot of exactly what you were looking at, and it will also save a screenshot with the summary. Here was the photo that I just took, but attached to it is the stand information. All right, now that we have covered saving and loading, the next logical step is deleting, specifically these trees. If there is a stand in Stand Designer that you particularly don't like, it's not quite your cup of tea, the fastest way of getting rid of it is to hit the trash can icon up here in the work menu. By clicking this, we can clear all objects and essentially start again from a blank canvas. However, since it's in the middle of the work menu, if we didn't want to hit that button, we can simply click undo, and it brings all of our trees back for us, so we didn't lose all of our work. And that is about it. All right, guys, those are the examples we'll be covering in example 1. I highly recommend playing around with the different functions in the app. And if you have any questions, feel free to visit the Visual Forester manual. In example 2, we'll look at visualizing selection harvests. Again, I'm Sean, and I'll talk to you guys next time.